Hey there, quick video here for long-time supporter of the channel Curiosity Science, and that is an introduction to consumer law. So consumer law is basically an extension of contract law. So you're going to be taking those key concepts that you had in contract law, such as offer, acceptance, consideration, intention to create legal relations, and applying them to a much more specific relationship between a buyer and a seller. In particular, on the one hand, a commercial organization who will be selling something to a consumer. And those two concepts have a particular legal definition that's generally taken from EU law. And it's based on whether the person is doing the buying or selling for a commercial purpose. So, on the one hand, a company such as McDonald's or Toys R Us will be selling something in order to make money. And so that's obviously a commercial practice and will be seen as a commercial trader. On the other hand, if you're going to buy a meal from McDonald's or buy toys from Toys R Us for your niece or nephew, then you are obviously acting as a consumer because you're buying the goods not to make money from it, but you're buying it for your own personal pleasure as a way of spending your money. And so that's an important legal relationship. But there are obviously blurred lines involved. So from a consumer's point of view, what about someone who sells all of their second-hand books on eBay? Is that person looking to clear space from their house and therefore maybe acting more as a non-commercial seller? Or are they just doing it to make as much money, in which case they probably are acting commercially? Similarly, if you go and buy planks of wood from B&Q, are you acting as a consumer if you're only doing it for DIY purposes? But perhaps if you're a builder yourself or a gardener, you are doing that for a commercial purpose. And so there's a few grey areas in terms of that definition of who is a consumer and who is a commercial trader. Now, fortunately, if you are studying consumer law this year, you will have access to the Consumer Rights Act 2015, which essentially consolidates all of the old legislation into one new act. Now, this act is quite long, but I would recommend going and reading the Wikipedia article on the Consumer Rights Act 2015, mainly because I wrote it, but yeah, hopefully you'll find that very useful as well. And while most of the area of consumer law is going to be looking from a civil law perspective, you might want to think about other things such as a criminal law perspective. So with the crime of corporate manslaughter, for example, when should a company be held accountable for the deaths of certain people? If you pay to go on a round the world cruise and you die as a result of that because the ship has a leak, should the owners of that cruise ship be responsible for your death in a criminal matter? So something to think about there. Overall then, I think consumer law will be a great module and I hope you enjoy it very much. I think the key thing to think throughout the whole module itself and throughout the year as you're progressing with it, and also maybe for any coursework or exam that comes up, is the nature of that relationship, in particular the power relationship. So on the one hand, you often have a big commercial organization such as McDonald's that has a lot of money and access to lawyers and can afford court fees very easily. And on the other side of that, you have the consumer who is often just a one individual person who may not have very much money and isn't necessarily in a powerful legal position. So the question that you have to think about is, how is that consumer protected from a powerful commercial organization? And how do we do that in a way that doesn't also prevent trade occurring? Thanks very much for watching this introduction to consumer law. If you did enjoy it, then remember to leave a like, comment and subscribe. Also remember to check out my podcast, UK Law Weekly, which is available on iTunes. Thanks again for watching. Bye.